How's it going, everybody? Jared Broxman.
And Cami Mon with Montana Acting Studio and Casting.
Season 1, Episode 3.
Cold reads.
Cold read.
Yeah. Cold reads is basically not having a whole lot of time to read aside and be able to learn the dialogue and what's going on. You have just a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Very short amount of time. It's usually for an audition. They give you a side if they haven't previously given you one beforehand. And so they just give this right when you arrive, and you have maybe a few minutes. They may give you some extra time to look over this, the sides, and
then perform it.
Yeah. So we're gonna give you a few steps of how the proper way to do that, overcome your nerves, and use them in your audition, so that way you deliver the best performance ever and you ace your cold read.
Yeah. Before you even go in for an audition, read everything that you can out loud. I don't care if it's a recipe, I don't care if it's a kid's book, whatever it is. Read it out loud. The more that you can read fluently and just have it flow, the better you're going to be at doing cold reads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to relax and be confident in your reading. And then you want to break down the scene. So you want to figure out what the character's doing. You want to figure out, what the intention of the character is. You want to...
What your relationship to the character is.
And so you just really want to break it down to where you understand it in your head.
Yeah.
Of where the character is supposed to be, where they're going, and what their intentions are. Because everything in a scene is the hand gestures, the body movement, the dialogue. Everything is there for a reason. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're just... I'm just going to do this.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're floating.
And you're like, what? This doesn't all make sense. Yeah. So you want to make sure that everything is tied together.
Yeah, the casting director is not there to see how well you can read without, do a cold read. They are wanting to see how well you can interpret the scene, mm-hmm. and whether you interpret it the way that they intended mm-hmm. or not. That's not the most important thing. That you make choices as to how you think this character should react to mm-hmm. this character, and you do it confidently. Okay, that's the most important. Sometimes they might say, hey, I kind of like that. I hadn't thought about it that way. Or they might say, well, let's try it this way. But at least you were there and you were confident about your choices. You need to have an idea of what happened before you started the scene. So all of those things, who the people are that are in the scene, what your relationship is to them, what's going on in the scene, and, what happened right before. Because when you're going into it, you want to be able to be acting before you even start the scene. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you wait to, okay, I'm standing here and they say action, and then you start, it's like it takes you halfway through the audition to even really start warming up. And then by then you've lost them.
You lost them. You don't want to lose them.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose them at all.
You might have time, a little bit more time than what you think when you're given a cold read. Okay. So ask them, how much time do I have to be able to do this? Sometimes they might say, 5 minutes. We've got to get going. Yep. Or they might say, well, take an hour and come back. So find out. Don't cut yourself short on the time.
Sometimes they also just say, you're up. And then they go, hey, can you read this?
Yeah.
And they literally hand it to you, and they go, take 30 seconds, look it over. Let us know when you're ready.
Any case, you need to be calm. Mm-hmm. And especially then, you need to be calm so you can just focus on it. Okay, just focus. Take 10 breaths.
Don't rush. Take your time. You're going to want to feel like you want to just get it done, and you're going to read really fast. And you feel that if you read the lines slower than you normally do, it's way too slow. But it's not. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You want to take your time. Like, for example, take your time, don't rush, to get through your lines and follow any suggestions from the director. That was all kind of jumbled, right?
Yeah.
Well, to me, it just felt like I was just saying it, right? So it's take your time and don't rush through your lines. Follow any suggestions from the director.
And so that means you have to be listening to what the director is saying and not be, in your head thinking of something else while they're talking, because a lot of times they will have an idea of how they want it done. And if you just go off and do whatever you were thinking of and not what they were doing, they're going, okay, they can't take direction. You got
to be able to take direction.
Yeah.
When you have your script and you're able to bring them on, you want to hold that chest level out this way. You don't want it in front of your face to block the camera, the casting directors to see what you're doing. You want to keep it chest level and don't be glued to it. You always want to bring your face up. So if you need to glance down at it, take in the line and then deliver the line. That's usually better than reading it and then, while looking up and down. If you can look at it, memorize that one little line, and you give it a good performance.
You need to make sure that you're making eye contact with the other character. So while they are reading, you might have a tendency to be like, okay, what's my next line? What's my next? And not really even connecting with the person. Okay. And so you need to connect with them, and you can hold your place on your script with your thumb. Okay. So it's easier to find your place when you look down. And then when you're delivering your lines, make eye contact with them at the beginning. Go ahead and read, and then look back up at them. Make eye contact again at the end of your line. And so that will make it to where you're able to react and have some kind of interaction with the character, because that's really what the casting director is looking for, is how are they able to interact with the other person.
Absolutely. And also persistency. Be persistent in this craft. The more auditions that you do, you'll learn so many do's and don'ts along the way that your confidence will start to grow. Heck, it took me many years to even be confident. And there's times where I'm not very confident, but you got to come off that way. You just got to say, hey, do the best that you can. You go in and you deliver that cold read as best as you can. And you walk away saying, hey, I did the best way I knew how.
Yep.
And you just forget about it. Don't think about the audition. Just go in there, do your job, leave.
Yeah. They want you to succeed.
Yeah.
They're not in there to watch 50,000 actors fail. That's not what they want. Yeah. If they find the right one right off the bat, that makes their job a whole lot easier. And so just go in there and make the choices that you make. Be yourself and just be alive, be real. One of the things that you have to understand about being an actor is you can't be thinking, okay, I'm going in there and I'm gonna get this role. No, if
sorry. Trying not to tap the table.
Oh, sorry. Bam. I get emotional. I talk with my hands. Say an athlete, if they visualized standing on the awards podium before their race, they wouldn't really be doing very well. That's not what they focus on. That's not what they visualize. They visualize everything that they're going to do, every way, the way they're going to start, the way that they're going to, all the motions that they're going to do, whatever event it is. So they're focused on what they are doing right now. Okay. If you go into an audition and all you're thinking about is, I'm going to land this role, that's not gonna work. You need to focus on who your character is, what they're supposed to be doing. You need to focus on that, not about who else is in the lobby waiting to go on, not about how impressive the casting director is or any of the. You got to get that kind of stuff out of your head and just focus on what you're doing. One of the main jobs that you will do as an actor is audition.
Become a professional auditioner.
That's what you are. You're a professional auditioner. And then sometimes you get to act. And so, you just got to do it for the love of it.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. My personal feelings towards audition, it's just part of the game. It's part of your job. And it's not always fun. it's the behind the scenes that, you know, no one really talks about as being an actor is auditions. I'm pretty sure for every 100 auditions, I think I landed something. Like that's how you got to stay persistent. You got to just keep tackling your craft every single day, every single week. Just as how fast you want to grow it is how much you put into it. Just because you don't get that role, don't be discouraged. Just say, hey, that's closer to the next role that I'm meant to be.
Yeah, and you don't have to beat yourself up because there's lots of things that determine whether or not you get the role.
You might not look the part.
You might not look the part. You might be too tall or you might be too short. You know, the leading person opposite you has already been cast, and you know, like if I was going in for a part and the leading guy was, you know, 5'4" and I'm 5'6", okay, that probably wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of deal. So there's lots of different reasons, and sometimes it's just wasn't the part for you. But when you do a really good audition, they will take note of that, and they will be looking for the parts that you do fit.
And that's what we look for too when we're doing casting. Is we really look for, one, be professional on set. That's huge. Especially that's, you know, what your resume's for, is to really show just how well you've been around it.
We're looking for people who can come in and be professional. How
they look, how they come off as that character they're auditioning for. There's a lot of factors that come into it. But so just do your best when it comes to the cold reads. Take the steps that we have presented here, and use those, and just, you know, practice with somebody. Download the PDF for the cold read. You're going to download that, you're going to print it off, and you're going to record yourself doing that cold read, doing the steps that we just provided here. And if you don't have somebody to do a cold read with you, record yourself on your computer video or on your phone in a voice recorder, and you can play it back. Give yourself enough gap to deliver your own lines, but just do that cold read and just get used to the steps of developing the character and know what you're doing.
Yeah, and then watch it back. Don't be too tough on yourself, because cold reads, you know,
it's a cold read.
It's a cold read. You got to understand you're going to make mistakes and whatnot, but just do that, and then you can see how you do. So make sure that you are reading out loud all the time, as much as you can. Okay, that's going to help you hands down.
Thanks for watching Montana Studio and Casting Season 1, Episode 3, Cold Reads. Make sure you download the PDF and you follow the steps for your homework. So that way you can move on to the next video. Jared Broxman.
Cami Mon.
See you in the next episode.
See you later.